Yo, what up, guys? Max here, back again with another offseason review and free agency review and draft preview. We're moving on from the NFC North to the NFC West, and we're going to start with probably the worst team in the NFC West, the LA Rams. So this offseason, I think they did okay, but not great. They signed Andrew Whitworth, which was a guy I wanted for the Vikings, but he went with the Rams to a decent deal. I think he's old. He's like 35 years old, but I think he's still a decent tackle and a guy that they could probably have another couple of years and have him perform at a high level. They signed Robert Woods, wide receiver out of Buffalo. I think he's a nice complementary piece, but I don't think he's going to be a world beater or anything. And they added Connor Barwin to an already really stout defensive line, so I think their D-line is set with Aaron Donald and those guys. They did lose some key players, though. They lost Kenny Britt and Brian Quick, who've been like key wide receivers on their team for a while now. They weren't great, but I mean, they had decent production. And they also lost Lance Kendricks, their tight end, as well as TJ McDonald, their pretty good safety. So, like, they added some nice pieces, but I feel like I like Whitworth a lot, but they lost a lot of key cogs too who have been on that team for a while. So I'm not in love with their free agency moves, especially because they let so many decent guys go. Also, I was hoping they would go out and sign like a big name wide receiver, like a Alshon Jeffrey, or try and trade for a guy like Brandon Cooks, because maybe not Cooks because they already have a guy like that in Tavon Austin, but go out and get someone like that. Anquan Bolden's still on the market. You can maybe look at him, but other than Tavon Austin, they don't really have – like, they signed Robert Woods, and he's nice, but they don't have, like, that true number one dominant receiver. And I feel like that's probably their biggest need. Today they came out and announced they exercised Aaron Donald's fifth-year option, which I think is a good move. He's arguably one of the best defensive tackles in the league right now. He's probably my top three. But I think they need to try and sign him to an extension soon within the coming months, because if they let him get to free agency next year, he's probably gone, and if not, they're going to have to pay huge for him. And they're probably going to have to pay huge for him either way, but if they let him get to the open market, it's going to be crazy. So I think this offseason, a key for them should be signing him to an extension, a long-term deal, because he's going to be a stalwart on that defense for a long time. As far as the draft goes, I think their biggest need is wide receiver, like I said. But the problem for them, similar to the Vikings, is they don't have a first-round pick. They traded to the Tennessee Titans. I think their first pick is pick 37, so that's close to the first round. A guy I'm looking at is Curtis Samuel out of Ohio State. I watched him play a lot this year because I'm a Nebraska fan, so I watched him tear up my Huskers. But he's a guy that played a lot of tailback, but he also played a lot of wide receiver, and I think he'd be a nice fit in that offense. He's explosive. Another guy that maybe would be there is a guy like D.D. Westbrook at Oklahoma. He's another guy I think would be nice in that offense. It'd be cool if they could get like a Mike Williams type, but he's not going to be there at 37. So unless they trade up, they're not going to be able to get that huge guy that's going to go up and get the ball like that, I don't think. But if they added one of those two, I think that'd be nice. And then they could also look to add a safety. They lost T.J. McDonald. He was a pretty good player on that team, so I think safety is another big need for them. Overall, I mean, as far as the Rams, I just think this year they just need to work on Jared Goff's progression and maybe adding a couple receivers in the draft to help him grow and keep that D-line firing and just try and grow Goff, because unless he becomes a viable option, which last year he wasn't that great, they aren't going to go anywhere, and he's like their Ferrari. They drafted him to be their golden boy, so they need him to develop. So that's the key for the Rams this year. I'll give them a C as far as their offseason grade because I like their additions, but they lost a lot of key guys. Hopefully they have a good draft, and we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.